The second, and this isn't necessarily in any particular order, but is to get educated. Um,
Mm,
there are, and this is something we talked a lot about on last week's episode on
yeah.
LGBTQ, IA plus kind of conversation about what those identities mean and those sorts of things, which was very brief, but to kind of do some research and some education. And we do live in a time where there is a lot of information out
Mm,
there for us to access, and so we can Google and learn a lot about different communities. And one of the things that about Googling, it can feel a little overwhelming, or what information, because you can kind of get you know
everything. Yeah. All
everything
kinds of stuff.
and such vastly different perspectives on the same thing. And so I think it's important in kind of discerning what information, I guess, works, is just kind of looking at who is the person telling us um, about these things, and ensuring that these individuals are um, part of the community that we are seeking or working to be an ally for.
Mm,
I think one of the things that's also important in kind of identifying that, it's like, okay, I want to be a advocate to the LGBTQ community. You can very easily just go to, let's say, white LGBTQ folks and ask them, or listen to their videos and those sorts of things. But there's something more to be learned potentially from folks from a person of color who is talking about allyship, or somebody who is, again, different from kind of your experience in different ways. So I think those are things to often kind of think about, is like intersectionality. There are often many things that are happening all at once. And so kind of keeping that in mind. So like when I was looking at allyship videos and preparing to talk about this, I was really looking at who's speaking, like who's
mm,
the one. And I listened to like um, a cis Black woman talk about allyship that was kind of centered around race, but she also spoke to the idea that, that of her space of privilege as being cisgendered, she's not, part of the LGBTQ community. So that's where she can potentially be an ally. And so that's kind of does that all make sense?
yeah, it all made sense.
Awesome. um,
It can be
the other,
overwhelming though, just an FYI, because if I'm thinking like in our relationship, so um, definitely want to be an ally for you,
mhm,
and I want to be an ally for anyone who you would want to engage with.
right, right.
This may or may not be something that I pursue, and who knows what tomorrow holds. So to think, okay, well, just being understanding how to be an ally to you isn't enough. I have to be an ally to other other types of LGBTQ people, and I'm like,
Mhm,
okay, so that's for me is a little overwhelming. But I think here is a good place for me to start, right? And then
mhm,
come on those other when those avenues present themselves.
definitely.
So, because for me, until you said, I would have put everybody under the same banner. So that's
Mhm,
a good note I thought that you had to consider all the other perspectives involved. So I
yeah.
appreciate that.
Good morning, Charlie. Thanks for joining us this morning and saying hello in the comments.
Good
If
morning,
you are
Charlie.
watching us live, we'd love to hear from you in the comments. So feel free to chime in with questions, comments, thoughts, that sort of thing. And just to speak more on the get educated part as well, too, is like it can be kind of burdens. Like, so to just go to like one person, or to like you and I are in relationship with one another, and so I think
Right.
it can feel really easy just to come to me and ask me,
You're
what's
right. It
this
is.
mean, what does that mean, or like whatever. But that can be a lot, that can take a lot of energy from me, or kind of burden me to do that all the time. So there's that personal burden of like feeling like I'm having to speak for this large community that I
Mm,
barely know my own experience for. So there's kind of that overwhelming, and sometimes like I'm just living my life, and maybe I had a hard day being trans because somebody called me some horrible name, or I was struggling with, like, there, you don't know what's going on in my life. And so sometimes to like take the moment to talk about something like that can be can be difficult. So I think it's important to not burden like the people that we are working to be allies with. And so, getting educated is really, really important.